Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to a new video on my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to take you with me on apartment hunting. I moved from the Netherlands to LA and I'm currently staying in an Airbnb that I rented for 2 weeks, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I'm able to find a cute apartment in those 2 weeks. I'm looking for a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom. I don't want any roommates because I work from home. I want to find this apartment in the central LA area, which is La Brea, Fairfax, West Hollywood, so I want to move to that area. If I can't find anything there, I'll broaden my potential living area to other areas as well, but that's like my top favorite area I want to live. My budget is maximum $2,000 a month. I really hope to find something for $1,800 or $1,900, but $2,000 is my ultimate max. Last but not least, I really want an apartment with a lot of natural lighting, preferably on the first floor or a higher floor, and also on the sunny side of the apartment, because lighting is like the #1 thing if you create content, if you do any videography, photography, you need good lighting. And I mostly shoot from home, so my apartment needs to be bathing in the sunlight. So those were all of my apartment hunting requirements. And the last thing I quickly want to touch base on is credit scores. Now, when I moved to the US, I had no familiarity with credit scores whatsoever. And also when I was renting an apartment in DC, I also didn't really hear anything about credit scores. This completely changed when I moved to LA, and here in LA, every apartment building requires you to have a credit score. This is something we don't really have in the Netherlands. If you want to rent an apartment, they don't require you to have a credit score. And the unfortunate thing is that if you are a foreigner, you can't get a credit score. If you move to the US as a student and you don't have a social security number, you won't get a credit score. And once you get a social security number like me, it takes years until you build a good credit score. So aside from my list of requirements, I also need to find an apartment that is okay with me not having a credit score. So yeah, that doesn't make me the best candidate, you know, for a lot of apartments. And I really hope I can find something that, you know, is not as strict, where I can just show them my proof of income, my savings, my letter of recommendation from my previous apartment, and hopefully they approve me as a renter. So that is the full backstory, and now we're going to start apartment hunting. What I'm going to be doing is using different apps. I'm using Zillow, Apartments, and Hotpads to look through the best apartments and favorite them, and then with the list of all the apartments that I find, I'm going to be calling them and hopefully visiting them. These are the 3 apps that I'm going to be using to find an apartment. The reason why I'm using 3 different apps is because sometimes you do find different apartments on different apps. Not every owner or realtor posts on all 3 apps, so that is why I'm using all 3. I do have to say that my favorite is probably Hotpads, just because I really like how this app works. All the houses that are gray are houses that you already went through. All the houses that are red are houses that are new, and all the houses that are yellow are favorites. So this makes it super convenient to scroll through all the houses and kind of get a good picture of where you hearted your favorite houses. You can also put different filters on pricing, type of apartment, and location, so that is really handy. So yeah, I'm going to be looking for apartments in this area, and hopefully I can find something. So this is my list of all the apartments that I hearted. I also want to show you guys how apartments.com app looks like. I find it a little bit less practical to use because it doesn't immediately show you which apartments you hearted or not. You can go to your favorite list right here, and then you will have a list of all your favorite apartments. But I also like the map overview, so That's a little bit annoying to me. And the other app that I use is Zillow. This one is nice because it also immediately says how expensive something is, and also if it's light purple it means you already looked at it, if it's dark purple it means you didn't see it, and then it also shows you if you hearted it. So it's pretty similar to the Hotpads app, but I don't know, something about it still makes me feel a little bit confused. I think the other Hotpads app is the easiest one to use. After favoriting apartments that looked interesting to me on all 3 apps, I then opened their websites on my desktop. This way I had a better overview of all the apartments that I wanted to visit, and I could also easily pull up all the different contact numbers to call the apartments. Now, I also quickly want to mention that some of the apartments that I ended up visiting were apartments that I just saw passing by the area. And this is also another very good tip to find any apartments that you like in LA. Physically go to the areas you possibly want to live and walk around. Most of the times you can find a lot of apartments that are not even put up on the internet because apartments come and go so fast in LA. So the apartments that I'm going to show you are a mix of the apartments that I found online as well as offline. I just finished adding all my favorite apartments to my favorite list, and then I opened them all on my laptop to have a little bit of a better overview of all of them, and now I'm going to start calling. That's a little tip that I can give you guys. If you try emailing any of these apartments, most of the times they don't respond. I started emailing apartments that I was interested in back in the Netherlands, and I think I emailed like 30 different properties and I got 2 responses. So that is also really hard when you are a foreigner and you're thinking of already finding an apartment before you actually move to LA. It's kind of impossible. So I learned the hard way, and that is to call every single one if you want an answer. So let's start calling. Hello, this is Lilia Kazakova calling. I'm interested in the 1 bedroom on... Hi, this is Lilia calling. I'm calling for the 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. Hi, this is Lilia calling. I'm calling because I'm interested in the 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. Hi, this is Lilia calling. I'm calling because I'm interested in the 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. The rest of the apartments that I'm still interested in are not in this area where I'm staying right now. So I'm going to call them later after I did the 2 viewings today, because I obviously really hope that one of these apartments are going to be, you know, my future apartments. So I'm going to call the rest after that, or maybe tomorrow. And now I'm quickly going to grab some coffee and some lunch, and I'll see you guys when I'm going to be visiting the next apartment. It is time to finally start visiting apartments. The first apartment that I visited was this 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom in the area where I wanted to live in La Brea. It was almost $2,000 a month, which was pushing my budget, but still within my budget. This apartment wasn't brand new, it was definitely an older building, but that is very common for this area in LA. And for its age, I felt like it did look very good. However, the biggest issues that I had with this apartment was, first of all, that it was on the ground level, and second of all, that this apartment didn't have any laundry. I know this is quite common in New York, but I feel like for LA, this is really pushing its limit. Apartment number 2 was located in quite a new apartment building complex. There were 2 units that the landlord showed me. The first unit was $2,200, which was completely over my budget, but it did have an in-unit laundry unit. And the reason why he showed me this unit was because the one that I was actually interested in, that was $2,000 a month, wasn't done yet. What I liked about these apartments was that they were newly renovated, so I would be the first person living there after the renovation. However, both these apartments were on the lower level, and you can't really tell from the video, but they were actually very, very dark. Apartment number 3 was a bit cheaper than the other apartments that I visited, which was nice, and it was also located on the 2nd floor. It also had faux marble floors in the kitchen, and it was pretty bright. Even though this apartment looked pretty good, the living room windows were literally looking at your neighbors, so I would feel very awkward filming videos here. So even though this apartment looks quite okay on video, in real life it wasn't really that great. I definitely didn't see myself living here because the finishes of the apartment were very bad. It wasn't really properly renovated. I also didn't like the fact that there was carpet in the bedroom. So guys, this is the apartment. As you can see, it is quite spacious. I really like the floor. I like the fact that all the walls are white. I like the fact that there's a fan. There's also an air conditioning and a little balcony. But I think you can already tell why I will never take this apartment. It is very, very dark. There's just not enough light coming in here. Even though there's a very big window, it's still super gloomy. Also, the view is very ugly. I do really love the kitchen. I think this countertop is beautiful, honestly. And I mean, even look at this. It looks so, so good. But it is just too dark for me. If it was on the first floor, I would have immediately taken this apartment. There's also a lot of storage space here, which is nice. And the bathroom is also very beautiful. Hi guys. With the same countertop, I love it. And there's even a shower and separate bath, which is awesome. And then the bedroom is also quite spacious, which I really like. And it has an okay window, but again, with a very depressing, most ugly view ever. So yeah, this apartment is just not going to be it. I'm really sad because I really thought that this apartment would be it for me. But yeah, it's disappointing. It's not gonna happen. After the disappointment of apartment number 4, I found apartment number 5. And this apartment was the apartment I fell in love with. It wasn't the most modern apartment, but it was very bright and nicely renovated, and I loved the view of my windows. It had a nice kitchen as well as AC, and even though the bathroom was a bit oldish, it was still nice and clean. Honestly, after visiting this apartment, I cycled home with such a good feeling because I finally felt like I found my apartment. It is now a week later and I'm coming to you with quite a miserable update. I visited 19 apartments and I'm still nowhere closer to having my own place. My biggest issue with most of these apartments was that they were way too dark. I look back at the footage that I showed you guys. I didn't show you all of the apartments, but on camera it looks way brighter than it is in real life. But I'm telling you guys, these apartments were all super dark on the shady side of the building, and I'm the type of person that just, first of all, needs a lot of natural light for her work, but second of all, also gets low-key depressed in an apartment with small windows or not a lot of natural light. And I really thought that if there would be one place on earth where natural light would not be an issue, it's LA, because the sun is literally shining every day. And considering the fact that I'm already paying so much money for rent, so much more than in the Netherlands, it's just crazy to me. Like, I just can't settle for less. All these apartments that I showed you, they weren't the worst, but with none of them, I really had this feeling of, yes, this is it. I didn't have this feeling like love at first sight when you walk in and you just know, yes, this is going to be my future home, because that's the feeling that I wanted finding an apartment. Maybe that's a bit too naive and too perfectionisty, but I had that in DC and I expected to have it in LA too. The house market in LA is just way more difficult. But to make things even more miserable and unfortunate, I actually did find one apartment that I really liked. So out of the 19 apartments, I found one that I liked, and I decided to apply for this apartment. Applying for an apartment is also kind of an interesting situation because I don't have a credit score. Now, I realized that I haven't really explained what a credit score is at the beginning of this video, so for all of you non-Americans like me who had no idea what a credit score is and how important it is in the US, A credit score is a statistical number that evaluates a consumer's credit worthiness and is based on credit history. In a lot of European countries, we don't really use a credit card, we use a debit card. And we don't really have very huge debts because of that. While in the US, everything and everyone uses credit to pay their bills. So landlords, in order to see if you will be able to pay the rent, they don't actually look at your debit. So they don't look at how much money you have or how much money you make. They just look at your credit because that's what every American uses to pay their rent and their bills. So if you don't have a credit score, it just means that you are a very shady person who probably has really bad finances. Especially LA being such an international city with so many foreigners, so many immigrants. I did come across some landlords that said that they were okay with me not having a credit score if I paid a higher security deposit, if I maybe paid a little bit more rent, if I showed proof of income. The fortunate thing is that I do have a social security number. If I didn't have that, it would have been even harder. But this apartment that I did like, the landlord seemed really nice. I spent a lot of my time getting all of my bank statements, letter of recommendations, also just a whole letter explaining my situation. And the landlord seemed pretty chill with it, and he seemed really understanding, and he said, yeah, you can just apply for this apartment and I think we can make it work. So I was super excited. Now, little side note, this system of credit score is even more miserable and unfortunate for people with no or very low credit score, because every time that you apply for an apartment, the landlord is going to run a credit check. I think this is like a governmental check of your credit score, so they know, you're not lying about your credit score. But every time that happens, your credit score actually lowers. Now, if it happens once or twice, it's still okay. But if you, for example, apply for a lot of different apartments, you don't have a great credit score or you have no credit score, so you're putting your eggs in different baskets, if I can say it like that, that's actually considered really bad. Because the more often your credit score gets checked, the lower your credit score becomes. It's actually considered something bad if people just check the validity of your credit score. What the hell? To me, that's just mind-blowing. So even though I didn't have a credit score to check, and I completely explained that whole situation with the landlord and he seemed fine with it, for bureaucratic purposes, he still had to run my credit score. But I was like, you know what, one time, it's not that bad. I have a really good feeling I'm gonna get this apartment. Guess I was wrong. Even though the landlord said that he was okay with the situation, when he discovered that I had a non-verifiable credit score, he freaked and he denied my application. And I tried calling him and explaining everything again and offering to pay multiple months up front, but he was just like, no, I can't do it. It's too risky for me. I really felt like he thought that I was shady. I don't know, maybe in the Dutch drug crime business. I don't even know. And yeah, it just really got to me. And it really made me, lose hope of finding an apartment. And I know it's such a first world problem kind of situation, but it just sucks that even if you do have a job or a company, even if you have the money, even if you spend time explaining the situation and offering solutions, for people to then just say no, it just makes me feel like there is no solution to this problem. Yeah, that's kind of the update. Not a very happy update. I still have another apartment that I'm going to view, and hopefully, I will get this apartment. Hopefully I'm going to like this apartment. But yeah, this is just the real life of a foreigner moving. Last but not least, apartment 6. This was a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom for $1,900 a month, and it was newly renovated. And honestly guys, when I saw this apartment, I instantly fell in love. Even more than with apartment 5. Again, you can't really differentiate the brightness that well on video, but this apartment was one of the brightest apartments that I've visited. even though it was on the lower level. The kitchen and the bathroom were both made with beautiful marble, and I also love the Parisian-inspired detailing on the ceilings as well as on the floor. This apartment definitely felt like the right fit for me. So guys, it is now a few days later, and it is time to give you a final update on my apartment hunting situation. So the last apartment that I visited was actually the best apartment yet. I really feel like it was a sign that I didn't get approved for the first apartment, because at first I was just so freaking devastated and I felt so hopeless, but I didn't give up because I never give up, even how unfortunate the chances may seem. I found this other apartment, which honestly was way better. It was in a neighborhood that I liked more, just everything about it was better. And when I walked here, I just instantly felt like, you know, this is it. I found an apartment with the feeling of, oh my gosh, this is going to be my new apartment. The same day that I viewed the apartment, I immediately applied because I was like, I am not letting this baby go and I'm going to do everything in my power to get it. And it's now a few days later, and guess what? I got approved! Yay! I am so happy. I honestly lost all hope, but this just shows you guys that even if you are in whatever miserable situation where you really feel like the system is broken and you have no chances of, you know, getting approved or getting the thing that you wanted, never give up. Like, I didn't come this far with my visa and everything to then not find an apartment that I love. I hope you guys found this interesting, seeing an LA apartment hunting video more from, you know, a foreigner's perspective, not from like a US citizen. And if you have any questions, you know, I know a lot of you guys are also in the process of moving to the US or wanting to move to the US, you can always send me a DM. Yeah, if you have any questions, let me know, leave a comment down below. The next video is going to be in LA Diaries, where I'm going to show you the whole apartment properly. And that also means that the moving vlogs are starting because I have somewhere to move to. Yay! So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and I'll talk to you very soon. Love you guys. Mwah.
I will never forget you.